Hi, I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. So today, continuing my trend of talking about topics that most people find boring in Star Wars, we're going to discuss something from a movie that a lot of people put at the bottom of their ranking of Star Wars movies. And this, of course, is The Phantom Menace. A lot of people I've talked to have mentioned that they don't really see the significance or importance for The Phantom Menace, the reason why that story is being told at all. Now, outside of the obvious big aspect of it, which is that's when they find Anakin, and he's really the main character of the prequels and a huge character in the original trilogy. But it's also something kind of sneaky that happens, once again, semi-behind the scenes, sort of like the Emergency Powers Act, which, by the way, if you want to see my video on the Emergency Powers Act, I'll put a link in one of the corners. And that is Palpatine's rise to Supreme Chancellor. At the start of Phantom Menace, Palpatine is just the senator for Naboo, a role that we would later see filled by Padme for a majority of the prequels and the Clone Wars TV show. But as the senator for Naboo during the Trade Federation invasion of Naboo, he was able to receive a lot of sympathy from other members of the Senate. At that time, due to the bureaucracy of the Republic, they were not able to really effectively respond to the crisis on Naboo. And this allowed Senator Palpatine to really rake in sympathy from other senators. This same situation was also brewing anger against the current Supreme Chancellor, Chancellor Valorum. All of this, by the way, is happening during the first half of The Phantom Menace. As we see in the movie, about midway, maybe a little past midway, the Queen of Naboo arrives on Coruscant. Padme, serving as Queen of Naboo at the time, addresses the Galactic Senate in an appeal to try to get immediate assistance against the Trade Federation. When the Senate fails to supply this assistance, she calls for a vote of no confidence. This vote of no confidence leads to Chancellor Valorum being forced to resign as Chancellor. And it leads to sort of this snap election to try to elect a new Supreme Chancellor. So, while Anakin is being brought to the Jedi Temple to be assessed as a candidate for Jedi training, various senators, including Sheev Palpatine, are campaigning to have a shot at becoming the Supreme Chancellor. Just before Padme leaves to return to Naboo, Palpatine comes in and says that he is one of the final candidates who are in the running for Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. So at this point in the movie, Padme and the rest of the main character entourage return to Naboo to take part in the Battle of Naboo. Meanwhile, back on Coruscant, the Senate is attempting to choose a new Supreme Chancellor. Using the sympathy raked in by the current crisis on Naboo, Palpatine is able to edge out his competition and take the seat of Supreme Chancellor, something that happens entirely off-screen in the background of Phantom Menace. Now, as we all know, his position as Supreme Chancellor gives him the power that he would later use to start the Clone Wars and slowly erode the Republic until he can bring the Galactic Empire into being. It is an incredibly important event in galactic history, and it's entirely handled on the sidelines. There's one line, one scene that shows the outcome and really shows us the time frame of all of this. At the very end of the movie, as they are taking away the Viceroy of the Trade Federation to face trial for his crimes on Naboo, Palpatine arrives and Amidala congratulates him on becoming Supreme Chancellor. So during the Battle of Naboo, Palpatine won the position of Supreme Chancellor. All of this really significant arc in galactic history takes place almost entirely in the background, and is only hinted to and referenced to. So while it may not be the big part of The Phantom Menace, there is something very significant politically that happens throughout most of the movie. This is, of course, on top of, Anakin. So if you enjoyed what you saw here today, or just want more sci-fi discussions, head down below, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. Also, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Tell me what you thought of The Phantom Menace. Do you think that it was a worthwhile addition to the Star Wars franchise, or do you think it would be better set as a comic or novel? So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.